Welcome to the Sisters of the Shire Podcast, where we discuss the works of the great J.R.R. Tolkien, or Tolkien. Today we are covering the Akallabeth, and I gotta say, I think this might be the last of this part, right? Am I right? This is the last?
Yeah, we are finishing it today. I have stretched it out long enough.
Of the Akallabeth, which is one of the sections that follows the official Silmarillion. So if you don't understand what we're talking about, or you need a refresher, please go back to our first episode, or episode 0 if you want to get to know us a little better first, so you can learn the intricate backstory that is woven throughout the Silmarillion. But don't let that scare you, because it is our quest to make sure it is easy to understand while having some fun along the way.
Well, I am Ashley, and I will be your Silmarillion guide. I am joined by my lovely co-host and best friend, Abigail.
Hello.
A wide-eyed newbie to the Silmarillion story, but definitely no stranger at all to Middle-earth. And together, we are going to guide you through Tolkien's many lands, many intricate characters, and all of their amazing and, most of the time, tragic stories.
So sad. It's all so sad.
Oh, just you wait for today, my friend.
Oh, man. Well, let's go.
Let's go. So, are you ready to finish the Akallabeth? Are you
I'm so ready.
Were you wanting more? Or you're like, I just want to be done. I just need conclusion to this jerk face Ar-Pharazon.
Yes. But it just made me have so many more questions, which I'm like, I hope he answers them. Instead of just like, and this happened anyway. I'm like, I'm just going to say this thing in one sentence and then move on. It's like
the Palantirs.
Yeah, or...
the One Ring being made.
Yeah, and that thing was made. Anyway, let's keep talking.
Anyway.
This guy had cool ships. It's like, no,
yeah.
I want to know about the important stuff. Stop being like, yeah, I'll get to it later.
Yeah.
I have seriously so many more questions now. Thank you.
Okay.
What
are some of your questions?
Well, of course, like Sauron's overtaking of... He's not on Middle-earth anymore. He went to Numenor. So, like, that kind of like overtaking of Numenor, and like, just like, do we get to know more about the people, like you said, turned into ring wraiths later on? Like, do we get to learn more about that situation because he was there? Like, I know not all of them are Numenorians, but like some you said might be Numenorians for ring wraiths. And then I want to know more about the Mouth of Sauron. That guy, he seems creepy. Yeah. I want to know his backstory. And then like,
he actually once was a prince. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
I don't know. He was so fair and beautiful, and now he looks like that. That would be great. I want to know that story. Or
he traded his looks to a sea witch.
Yes, exactly. Just too much Botox, you know?
Yeah.
And just like stuff like that, like the little tidbits that like make up the cooler part. And even in the movies, if some people, that's their only basis is the movies for like Tolkien story lore, the Mouth of Sauron is like 2 minutes, like less than 2 minutes.
And I think he's only in the extended.
In the extended edition?
I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So like, I think so. I think you're right about that. So like, it's stuff like that where I'm like, if you're not going to give us more about a character, don't include it. You know what I mean? Like,
the real people will know his backstory.
Yeah, like
the real diehards.
Don't give me a little taste, and then not give me the whole meal, please. I want to know more.
Well, that's how they draw you in. They're like, you want to know that? You have to buy this full set of books and read every bit.
$25.
Yeah, 4 payments of $19.99. Well, no. I will say, at least today, we do have one more section after this. Let's just keep that in mind.
It's not the Akallabeth anymore. It's just a different section.
Correct. And it's of the Rings of Power and the Third Age. And that section is... Sorry, I'm trying to count how many pages there are. About 340 to 366, so about 26 pages.
Oh, that's not too bad.
So not too bad. But it's got a lot of questions to answer in that time. I will say we are going to learn a bit about Sauron, but we're not going to learn anything about the ring wraiths or the mouth of Sauron today.
Well, that was my other question.
Yeah.
How
does he get, what is his ending here, end goal?
Yes. And then also, like, is he just a dude? Like, does he just look like a normal person?
Yes.
Like, as tall as they are, and like, no wonder he thought that he could defeat him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He didn't look like those depictions of like Morgoth where he's like 20 stories tall. And
yeah.
Raw. But in the movie, he's huge.
We'll get to that. We will somewhat get to that today. Somewhat.
See, questions.
Yeah. Okay, so last week we started off with Sauron being Numenor's main source of prosperity. Just through his guidance and advice, the rich have managed to get richer.
Guidance is an air quote.
Guidance, yes. And since, yes.
The air quote that I'm doing with my claw hands.
With my claw hands.
And in the Lego movie.
Lego movie, yep.
Can't you see the air quotes I'm doing with my claw hands?
That movie is so underrated. And since they're the only real important people on Numenor, important, air quotes, they're pretty happy that they're getting richer. So they're like, yeah, Sauron's the best. We're getting so much richer when he's around and we follow his guidance. And Sauron's like, you know what you should do? Here's my even better advice. You know how you guys are really good at building ships? Well, I think you should build even bigger ships and even like engine things, which isn't a thing yet. But I'm meaning more like maybe mechanized things like catapults and really cool, like, what are the trebuchets? I don't know war stuff. I'm sorry. That's not my thing.
That's what they're called. Like, they're unmotorized, but they're like, they work like that. And they're called like simple machines, but they're like,
yes,
ropes and pulleys and weights and stuff like that.
Yes. So with these bigger and better ships, Sauron's like, you know who we should take a test drive out with these babies? Let's go attack those Forgotten Men because I don't think they put up much of a fight. And they're right. Because the Forgotten Men have nothing.
Like, come over to them like, hey, not again. Come on.
And they just basically like taking candy from a baby. It's almost too easy to just attack these Forgotten Men because they have nothing. And these attacks are so brutal and so terrible that Ar-Pharazon becomes known as the mightiest tyrant since Morgoth.
Oh my gosh. And he just attacks them for no reason?
No reason. I mean, what does he need? They have everything. They're just like, we're bored and we want to test out this cool trebuchet. Let's test it out on those guys.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, technically it's Sauron that's the mightiest tyrant since Morgoth, but because Ar-Pharazon's the one, you know, that's the king technically and is technically the one making the official orders, it's him, but it's a joint title.
Oh my gosh. Those poor people.
I know. Not my pumpkins.
Yeah. Dang it. It's like in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. He's like, I'm free. Dang it.
So then Ar-Pharazon, you know, all that killing, it takes up time. And, you know, he's starting to get a little older, which makes him very angry because he doesn't want to get older. He wants to live forever. And he thinks he deserves that because he says so. I don't know. And Sauron's like, this guy looks pretty vulnerable. I think it's time to initiate the final phase of my plan. Mwahahaha. Maniacal laugh.
Maniacal laugh.
So Sauron plants an idea in Ar-Pharazon's mind, and he just uses the most like honeyed words to just put this idea in his mind. And then Ar-Pharazon's like, I have a great idea. This idea I came up with on my own. What we're going to do, guys, is we're going to take over Valinor because, you know, they are hiding their immortality from us. And if we take Valinor from the Valar, then we will be immortal. Because, yeah. And you know what? I deserve immortality because I am the coolest king ever. I mean, am I right, guys? I am the coolest king ever. And I might even be cooler than Monway. I mean, I don't know. That's just me saying.
He's saying to this in a mirror, like a little handheld mirror, while he's like looking like at everyone. He like checks himself out in a mirror, and then he says it to the whole army he's talking to.
Well, because he has Gaston. He's like, you're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Do you think he's like Botoxed up, gross looking, trying to look as young as he can person? Or is he like falling apart like the like old aristocrats that like their teeth were falling out and they had like wigs because they didn't have hair anymore and like stuff like that?
I think it's the Botoxed up version. And but he's still fat. I'm getting a Henry VIII vibe when he's older. I'm not sure. I've read a lot of like historical fiction books on Henry VIII. And so they just like paint this picture of him like with this like limp because of his like war injury or jousting injury. I forget what it was. But he's like still trying to be young. He's still like has young people around him. He keeps the young girls around. Like he just like, I'm young, I'm hip, I'm cool. But he's like, yeah, he's that guy. And so Ar-Pharazon's like, well, since this body is not turning out so well, let's try the immortality route. Let's try that. Let's take the Valar's immortality because they're like just keeping it from us to be mean. Because so he starts making plans.
It's like a physical thing.
Yes, it's either a physical thing or it's like the Valinor land. Like you get on the land and you're like immortal.
Oh,
it's either that or like a physical thing. That's kind of how Sauron is painting it. So he starts making his war plans, and
what did he know more? What did Sauron know exactly?
Oh, he knows exactly, but he also doesn't really want. He knows this isn't gonna win. He knows they're not gonna succeed.
Yeah. Okay.
So word gets out of these battle plans to make war upon the Valar to his old buddy Amandil, and I'm not sure if you remember Amandil because there's lots of deals in this story. Amandil is one of the elf friends, the Elendili. He was buddies with Ar-Pharazon when they were younger and was kind of high up in the social standing of Numenor. But because he's an elf friend, Elendili, Sauron's like, you can't have that good influence around here. Get out. And so Amandil is just kind of, he's staying faithful to the Valar and the Eldar. He knows that that's the good thing. But he also loves Numenor and wants to help as much as he can. But he's seeing that Ar-Pharazon's going to attack Valinor. This is going to only end badly because I know my history. He knows his history. He's, knows the Valar are all powerful. So he's like, hey, Elendil, my son, let's make our own plan because this is not going to end well. So here's the plan. Yeah. Here's the plan, Elendil. I am going to pull an Elendil. Remember, lots of deals here. And try to sail to Valinor for help. And while I do that, you, Elendil, stay here on Numenor. And you just gather what Elendili you can. Make sure it's in secret or you're going to get in trouble. And just get ready to escape. Don't get involved in Ar-Pharazon's crap over there because that's doomed for failure. But just be ready to escape. I'll try and send a signal. But if I don't succeed, then just be ready to go when you think the time is right.
Oh, yeah. I remember this from last time. Like, he was just, waiting.
Yeah. So Amandil sets sail for Valinor with 3 of his best buddies, and they are never heard from again.
Well,
apparently the Valar only give out one mortal set sail or ask forgiveness from the Valar card, and it was already punched by Elendil, so yeah, they're out of luck. But we decided that Amandil and his 3 buddies and Elendil's 2 buddies that got sent away from Valinor, they're all on an island and they're all having fun with Osei and Olmo. That's just what I decided.
They're just like, beach party.
Yes.
They're just like what is it? Beach balls, like barbecue.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Just a constant beach party. So Elendil does as his father has asked. He gets everything all packed and ready to go, including the 7 stones, which we've just learned about. Thanks, Tolkien, which are the Palantirs that they received as a gift from the Eldar.
I want someone to make, like, an artist out there, like a glass artist or like a stone cutter artist, to make a set of Palantir, like mini versions, probably like golf ball size, but like in a really cool wooden case or something, like all 7, but they all look different, like different stones. Please.
That would be really cool. That would be really cool. And then, I'm surprised you don't want this more, because Isildur is bringing along the white tree that he rescued from Sauron. Remember his suicide mission to steal the fruit, and then he planted the fruit, and then Okay.
No, I have an idea.
Okay.
Those, like, this is very niche knowledge, but in like churches sometimes they have like these like plaques that have like a saint or something, and they're kind of like an arch, and they're like flat against the wall, and it's like kind of like a relief, and then there's like a little shelf that comes out below it, and there's either like a candle or like where they put like holy water or something, but it's like a flat against the wall relief and then a shelf. So it kind of looks like an L where the top part. Anyway, a really cool carved, painted white tree on that part. And then the shelf part is where you can put all the 7 stones on. Guys, please make it amazing. I want it. Please.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about all the Palantirs and what we know about them and how you can make them different. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of possibilities. But anyway.
I know.
So after the cool stuff is all packed away.
Yes.
Then Elendil waits. And he's looking towards the sea. And remember, he is looking towards Valinor, just waiting for a sign or maybe a sight of his father's ship. But it never comes. And then as Ar-Pharazon's warships are getting ready to head to Valinor, they just end up blocking any possible view entirely.
So they can see Valinor, or can they see Valinor?
Remember the far-sighted could see Valinor from certain heights.
What do your elf eyes see?
Yeah. Because they're not elves, but they're Dunedain, so they have somewhat good vision. Okay, so that's how we left things off. Are you ready to end the Akallabeth?
Yes.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So,
we're 20 minutes in. We gotta do it.
So this week, I want you to start off by imagining what you think the weather was like on Numenor, like when things weren't all going to hell, like the peak peacetime of Numenor. What do you think the weather was like? What do you imagine?
Like a balmy 75 degrees and like sunny, and there might be some like sea breeze sometimes, but it's mostly like not super tropical, but more like I'm thinking more like Grecian island. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I like it. That's pretty close. Quote, in the Isle of Numenor, the weather was ever apt to the needs and liking of men. rain in due season and ever in measure, and sunshine now warmer, now cooler, and winds from the sea. And when the wind was in the west, it seemed to many that it was filled with a fragrance, fleeting but sweet, heart-stirring, as of flowers that bloom.
Oh, so paradise.
Yeah, basically. I mean, doesn't that just sound amazing? What a perfect place to live. Who could possibly be ungrateful a day to live in such an amazing place? Oh,
yes.
Wait. There's a whole group of them now. So now that things are all evil with like ritual sacrificing of people and stuff, things aren't all quite sunshine and full of the smell of flowers and stuff. Quote, for the sky itself was darkened, and there were storms of rain and hail in those days, and violent winds. And ever and anon a great ship of the Númenóreans would founder and return not to haven, though such a grief had not till then befallen them since the rising of the star. So, like, since the beginning of Númenor, they have not lost a ship at sea, and now they're starting to lose ships. And out of the west...
why.
Yeah. And out of the west there would come at times a great cloud in the evening, shaped as it were an eagle. And slowly it would loom up, blotting out the sunset. And then uttermost night would fall upon Númenor. And some of the eagles bore lightning beneath their wings, and thunder echoed between sea and cloud.
What? That's amazing.
I know.
That sounds so epic.
I know. So just a reminder, in case you're not getting the subtle hints in there. So anything coming from the west is coming from Valinor. That's because that's to the west. And anything eagle related is Monwë related. One of the highest, the Lord of the Valar. So he's sending some signals. And the weather is not quite all tropical. Well, not even tropical. It's just not even close to just a measure of rain and lots of sunshine. It's like, no, the storms are so bad that these masters of the sea, they've been sea worthy for years.
It's like their whole identity.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty good at it, but they can't do it anymore. They're not so good with the storms. And I love the idea of the eagles. Like, can you imagine seeing these huge cloud eagles, so big that it can block the light of the sunset and produce lightning?
Like the river horses.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, okay, so they don't believe in the Valar, right? That's like their whole platform. But like seeing that, wouldn't you be like, okay, maybe they are real? Like, I don't know. That's pretty convincing. Pretty convincing evidence.
Giant thunder eagles. Yeah.
And, you know, they do know some things about the Valar. They know it has something to do with Monwë, because when they see the eagles, they're, like, terrified. And they just, it must be a sign from the Valar. Monwë's spying on us. And apparently these dark weather eagles are appearing in Númenor for quite some time. Like, it's a while that they're seeing these things. It's not just, like, a one-time
it's like a bad omen.
event. Yes. And, you know, some do have a change of heart and they repent, and they'd be good for, quote, a season. Not sure what that implies. And then, you know, we haven't seen an eagle for a while. I'm just going to go back to doing what I was doing. Like, it just doesn't quite stick. And the people that aren't scared of it, they just get mad seeing it, because they're like, oh no, the Valar are plotting and spying on us. It makes them even like harden their hearts and shake their fist at heaven. They're like, well, yada. Yeah. And, you know, the king himself, upon seeing the eagles, said, quote, the lords of the west have plotted against us. They strike first. The next blow shall be ours.
Whoa. They have some very confident people over there.
Yes.
They bred them confident over there.
It's funny, though. It specifically says that this statement came from Ar-Pharazon. Like, he said it, but it was actually written by Sauron. Like, who knew he was such a good speechwriter?
He, like, hands him his, like, little note cards, and he just slips like, his thing in
Just
there.
read the cards.
Just read the cards. It's, like, on a cue card in front of him.
No, but yes, I imagine him, like, holding them up, like, behind the people.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Make sure you smile. Or look angry.
And now you're firm. You're a strong leader. Yes. You can do this.
So that happened. And then the lightning starts to get a bit more intense. So it's no longer just like a distance bolt of thunder and lightning. It's like actually killing people that are just like in the field or standing in the street. Like it's just a bolt of lightning. But then,
oh my gosh.
Lightning even strikes the dome of Sauron's temple and somehow lights it on fire.
Oh. All right.
But the temple itself was unshaken, and Sauron stood there upon the pinnacle and defied the lightning and was unharmed. And in that hour, men called him a god and did all that he would.
So
that backfired.
Yeah. We're gonna rain terror so you know who's the real strong person here. And then they're like, wait, no, guys, no, it was us, not him. No, come on, guys.
Yes.
No.
But I just don't. They're so forgiving in some ways, the Valar, and then they're so like black and white. You know, they're just very like it is what it is. Like, yeah, black and white. I can't think of another word. So why can't they just hit him with a lightning bolt and call it good? Like, it would have solved so many problems. And like, what if Sauron just died right then? What would have happened?
I know. Maybe like, what is it called? No. Like, then they would have realized that, like, hey, like, you guys are just, what's the word? Mortals, and don't mess with us, and like,
yeah. So we can take out your puny god. Yeah. So Sauron is now a god to these people, and he's like, that dude wasn't even hit by the lightning. He's invincible. He must be stronger than the Valar. And so the Valar are like, oh, okay, let's try a different tactic. So then the ground starts shaking and smoke starts coming out of the Meneltarma, the big mountain on the island. And they're like, well, it's okay. We got Sauron here. So whatever this is, I'm sure he can handle it. So whatever.
So where's Ar-Pharazon in this? If now they're all
he's
just
still around
to
yeah, he's still around. He just is like, yeah, we got this. He's like in charge, but he's like, see, I have this guy as my weapon or as my shield, I guess. He's not above. Sauron is still not above Ar-Pharazon. He's still not like taking over, but he is a very valuable asset.
Okay.
That he's seeming to use, but it's really the other way. So Ar-Pharazon and the people just keep moving forward with their plans. Let's attack Valinor. That's the plan. And, quote, in that time, the fleets of the Númenóreans darkened the sea upon the west of the land, and they were like 1,000 isles. Their masts were as a forest upon the mountains, and their sails like a brooding cloud, and their banners were golden and black. And all things waited upon the word of Ar-Pharazon. And Sauron withdrew into the inmost circle of the temple, and men brought him victims to be burned.
Oh my gosh. That's metal, but also
right. Terrifying. So Ar-Pharazon's like, okay, I need more ships. Okay, now it looks really cool. I need a bit more gold over here. Okay, black, gold, black. You guys, we have a scheme here. We're trying to match the color scheme. Who invited this gold, this like purple one? Get out of here.
Okay. You got my groove.
But I actually kind of love the color scheme of golden and black for this era of Numenor, just because like it's the perfect embodiment of what is happening. Yeah, it's the gold like their wealth and their greed, and black like their evil hearts, and also like the ashes of the people they're burning. You know, yeah.
So Sauron's like, you have fun, boys. You have fun in your ships. I'm just gonna go back here and let you guys do your thing. Preserve myself. You guys can go kill yourselves. That's fine with me. I'm gonna stay back here.
Well, they haven't left yet. They're just waiting upon the word of Ar-Pharazon. And I imagine Ar-Pharazon's waiting to hear from Sauron. And so Sauron's maybe like, I'm going to go into the temple to pray to Melkor to decide when the time is right or something. That's kind of what I am gleaming.
Okay.
But because it's Ar-Pharazon is the king, he's technically the one who's in charge. Everyone's just waiting to set sail, waiting for word from him. So he just keeps, so I imagine like in my head, he just has to keep coming up with excuses why they haven't set sail yet. Like, don't you know it's unlucky to sail on a Tuesday? We can't sail today. Oh, you can't set sail if your house isn't clean.
It's my kid's birthday, sorry.
Yeah. We can't set sail because someone forgot to file that permit. Jerry, I told you it had to be in by Friday. Jerry. Now we have to start the paperwork all over again.
Come on.
But it's really like
a new paint job on the boat. We can't run. Yeah. We can't sail it for like 2 days. Sorry. Yeah.
So he's just kind of stalling, waiting for Sauron to make the official call. But Sauron's like, I'm just burning people. I don't know I'm waiting for a word from Melkor. I don't know. Quote, then the eagles of the lords of the west came up out of the dayfall, and they were arrayed as for battle, advancing in a line, the end of which diminished beyond sight. And as they came, their wings spread ever wider, grasping the sky. But the west burned red behind them, and they glowed beneath, as though they were lit with a flame of great anger, so that all Numenor was illumined as with a smoldering fire.
What? They're ruining everything.
So I just am imagining this like line of birds. I don't know how they stay in a line because they have to fly, and that must be very difficult. And somehow there's just like backlit with red, and they just are all glaring like, you guys are in trouble. And it's supposed to be a hint, a sign to the Numenorians, like,
don't mess
this.
It up.
Yeah, but I feel like they're trying. They're a bit too subtle. Like, could we just be a bit more clear? Why are you sending all the eagles to do the work? Could you maybe send a messenger to actually speak English?
Mean?
Yeah,
what does that mean?
Like, this isn't really the time for subtlety.
Yeah,
but okay,
straight. He's a dude. He needs to be told the exact reason.
Don't get me started. Okay, anyways. But if the eagles could make some kind of a message in the clouds, what would the message have said?
They skywrite like one of those planes.
Yes. Yes. That is my idea. That is exactly my idea. So my first one is, stop it.
Don't be dumb.
Don't be dumb. Don't make me come over there.
Yeah. I'll turn this eagle around right now.
Don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Or we helped put you in this world and we can help take you out.
Yeah. What else? They could be like
Ar-Pharazon's a ninny.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'd be really funny. That envisionment of like the birds making like
or like
skywriting in the sky.
Either skywriting with the eagles or them like forming letters with like their eagles, like
Yeah, don't you even
wings.
think about it.
Or they have like an interpretive dance.
Yeah. That's why they're confused. That's why the Numenorians, they're like, whoa, oh, uh-huh. Like, oh. And then like they go over there and Mama's like, you didn't get my message.
It's like the worst game of charades ever.
What part of this bird's interpretive dance did you not understand? I meant, don't come over here.
Well, for some reason, the Numenorians aren't taking these eagles' warnings seriously. Like, we don't know what it means. It's just
a picture of a knife. They just draw a picture of like a knife in the sky, like a threat.
So all by himself, without Sauron holding his hand or whispering in his ear, Ar-Pharazon decides that the time has now come. These birds mean business, and I mean to fight them back.
Like they come out and he's like, oh no, let's go, dude, let's go, it's time to go, these birds mean business. Quote, they just egged him on. Get it?
I love it. Quote, then Ar-Pharazon hardened his heart, and he went aboard his mighty ship, Al-Carandas, Castle of the Sea. Many oared it was, and many masted, golden and sable, and upon it the throne of Ar-Pharazon was set. Of course, he's got to have a throne everywhere he goes. Then
that's what
he did on
it's yes. Throne.
Then he did on his armor and his crown, and let raise his standard, and he gave the signal for the raising of the anchors. And in that hour, the trumpets of Numenor outrang the thunder.
Whoa, that's some loud trumpets.
Well, he's got a band. We've already been over this. He's like, hold on, I'm going to sit on my giant ship and sit on my giant golden throne. All right, band, hit it.
Hit it. Well, what song do they hit it? Guys, what do you guys think? What song do those trumpets do?
So I was actually going to guess what song they play as they go. But yeah, what is the one guess I had was Highway to Hell. Highway to Hell.
I'm thinking more trumpet forward, so I'm trying to think like.
But dark?
Oh, wait. Hold on. Now I got to look it up. I think it's John Cena's song from like Wrestle, his like walk-on song.
John Cena's WrestleMania song or whatever it is.
Yeah.
My other thought was like just the Jaws theme. Donna. Two notes and you have a villain.
Okay, hold on. I'm looking up John Cena's song. You ready?
Okay.
Hold on. It's getting there. That's not.
What?
It's like it's like trumpets. So I'm saying it's a trumpet song and it's the John Cena song.
Okay, look that up, everyone. My other idea is straight up mariachi band.
Now.
Straight up mariachi band. That's
yeah. The John Cena song is called "The Time Is Now," so I feel like it's also fitting.
Okay, that's very fitting.
But it's very like, let's go. Oh my gosh, I can see it in my head now. Amazing.
Quote, so playing that song. Thus the fleets of the Numenorians moved against the menace of the west. And there was little wind, but they had many oars and many strong slaves to row beneath the lash. The sun went down, and there came a great silence.
There were slaves now?
Oh, yeah. Imagine there were Elendili, of course.
Oh, man.
Darkness fell upon the land, and the sea was still, while the world waited for what should betide. Slowly the fleets passed out of the sight of the watchers in the havens, for a wind arose in the east, and it wafted them away. And they broke the ban of the Valar and sailed into forbidden seas, going up with war against the deathless to wrest from them everlasting life.
What? So they did it. They went over there.
They did it. They crossed the line. The line is a dot to you now. Okay, so then my other question is, so they're going and they're going to wrest from them everlasting life. Like it's like a material object. They're imagining they're just it's something you can just hand over to someone. So what does everlasting life made material look like?
Maybe they think it's like they the legends and stories say like a fountain they have to go jump in, or like a fruit they have to eat off a tree or something, or
I like that.
Or
it's a twig.
Something physical that they have to like put on their body or ingest.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I would just like someone to mess with them though. Like, yeah, you have to eat this tree bark here. And
this pine cone.
This pine cone, and you have to do the electric slide.
And this slug. They're just like pranking them so hard. They're like, yes, you have to truffle shuffle and eat this pine cone. And you're going to have to like do a backflip. Like that's all we did. That's how you do it.
Yeah. I've done it. It was easy for me. How about you, Terry? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I do it all the time.
I can just see them trying to backflip. Like, I will have a immortal life.
Especially a fat Ar-Pharazon. Like, hold on.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy's like, just help me, lift me up. No, higher,
like,
higher.
Other people are trying to like pull or trying to flip him over, and they're just like being crushed. He's like, come on, do it. Flip me.
Flip me.
You're useless. Useless.
So they're sailing to Valinor, this fleet of immense size, and for some reason they go to Tol Eressëa first. And just a reminder, Tol Eressëa is like the island where some of the Eldar live, and their fleet encompasses the whole island. They surround it for some reason. So much so that the Eldar are sad because they can't see the light of the sunset because all the ships are in the way. No. Guys, my favorite sunset.
It's like a blackout sunset.
So
it's a dark sunset again.
I love that movie so much. So in my head, Ar-Pharazon is leaving. If you haven't watched Bedazzled, you need to. It will change your life. So
did I in my head, Colt painted an oil painting of that sunset, and he put a little plaque at the bottom that just said, "When is that darn thing gonna set?" That is a true thing that he made, and I love it so much.
Your husband's amazing. So in my head, the only reason he would logistically makes sense to me that he would leave his fleet, the majority of his fleet there surrounding Tol Eressëa, and then just my main posse goes in first.
So that they don't all get obliterated at first if something happens, and then he has a backup plan?
Right.
Okay.
Quote, "At last, Ar-Pharazon came even to Aemon, the blessed realm, and the coasts of Valinor. And still all was silent, and doom hung by a thread. For Ar-Pharazon wavered at the end, and almost he turned back. His heart misgave him when he looked upon the soundless shores and saw Tanaquil shining." Remember, Tanaquil is the high mountain peak where Manwë and Varda have their thrones. "Whiter than snow, colder than death, silent, immutable, terrible as the shadows of the light of Iluvatar. But pride was now his master, and at last he left his ship and strode upon the shore, claiming the land for his own, if none should do battle for it. And a host of the Númenóreans encamped in might about Tuna, Dumb Hill Tuna. once all the Eldar had fled.
Crazy.
So he lands on Valinor. He looks up and he sees these huge mountains, because remember they have that like wall of mountains. There's a little like peekaboo thing in between the mountains where Tuna
the sun can come through.
And the sun can come through, yes. But this high mountain peak of Tanaquitl is like intimidating him. He's like, maybe I shouldn't have done this. He's like, no, you've come too far. We're doing this thing. Yeah.
He's like, don't wuss out now.
Yes. So a bunch of his Númenóreans encamp about the Tuna Hill, and all the Eldar that were there just like, ditch this. Something bad's going to happen over here. So they're all fled. But an interesting part of this whole story, when you heard, I mean, as you have been like listening to this story, was I the only one that thought for sure that Sauron would have been with him? Because he isn't there. He's still back on Númenor.
I feel like there's two options for this. The option of him being there, or the like thought of like he should be there, is because like maybe he's like, I'm strong enough, I'll take on all of you and I'll be the king of everything. Like he wants to take down Manwë and he wants to take down like everybody and like show everyone that he's like stronger than everybody else, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but the other thought is that he's doing what Morgoth does, and he's like, I'm going to destroy,
send in my pawns.
Send in my pawns and like have them destroy each other as much as they can, and then there'll be no one in power left, and I'll take over everything, and I didn't have to do anything.
That's true. So, I mean, we had this kind of discussion before about like, is Ar-Pharazon under the influence? Did he have a choice?
Like Loki does when he, with his scepter, he took people over.
Is he completely under the influence, or does he have any free will? Well, Sauron isn't at his side, guiding his every decision from this point. It was Ar-Pharazon's decision to launch the attack. It was Ar-Pharazon's decision to land on Númenor, or on Valinor. So, like, yes, he doubted for maybe a minute, but he ultimately makes the decision to go and to plant that flag. So I say he was in too deep, but I don't think that he was redeemable at this point.
I think he just fully rotted to the core.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. But in other news, other ideas. I also love the image of him planting his flag on the beach and being like, no one else is here? All right. Well, this beach is now mine.
And it doesn't stick up. It like doesn't go in the sand very well. Like, he's like, hold on. Someone, slave, build me a sandcastle. I need to put my flag down.
It's sorry, it's very Pocahontas, like Radcliffe-esque, like, no one's around here to fight me on this. All right, cool. Because I wasn't going to beat them anyway, because this place is now mine.
Yes.
Like, can you really claim it as yours if you didn't really do anything to earn it? You're just like, yep, this is mine.
It's mine now.
Yeah. One thing I also wish they added was how long this whole thing took, because I imagine from Ar-Pharazon walking on the beach of Valinor to the Númenóreans literally making camp around the Tuna Hill. I mean, that sounds like at least a couple of hours, right?
Or days even.
Right.
Who knows how long of a hike it was with all that stuff.
Right. Well,
did they have horses?
Apparently, it doesn't say. Because apparently, however long they were there, they're like, okay, that's enough. Because, quote, then Manwë upon the mountain called upon Ilúvatar, and for that time the Valar laid down their government of Arda.
Ooh.
So in other words, Manwë is like, hey, Ilúvatar, go get him. And the Valar are like, okay, we're clocked out for the day. We're going to let Ilúvatar take over from here. We're just going to go on break. We'll see you later. We'll clean up the mess when you're
upper management.
Yeah. Okay. Are you ready for this, Abby?
This is an upper management issue.
Yes. What do you think Iluvatar is going to do? What's he going to do?
In my brain, I want him to do like how Sauron just comes in and he has that huge mace and he's like, "Bwah, bwah," and he like whacks everyone and they go flying. Or he like sends out this like hurricane and blows them all away and the sailing ships like just fly away on that. Or he comes out and he's like, "You guys, what are you doing here? We can't have this. We need to go back. It's time to go back home now." Like, well, come on.
If you are a Iluvatar, that is for sure would have happened. That is definitely the Abby approach. Yes, that is definitely the Abby approach.
Guys, what are you doing? Friends, we don't do this.
Sorry. This is going a bit far past what you would do. Like, okay, now we're going to sit around in a circle and we're all going to talk about our feelings. Who wants to hold the talking stick first?
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. That's not what Iluvatar does. Quote, "But Iluvatar showed forth his power, and he changed the fashion of the world, and a great chasm opened in the sea between Numenor and the Deathless Lands, Valinor, and the waters flowed down into it, and the world was shaken, and all the fleets of the Numenorians were drawn down into the abyss, and they were drowned and swallowed up forever."
What? Yeah, that's like the opposite of what I said.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that's definitely the Abby approach. Now let's talk about it.
Well, I was kind of right when I said he like banished them and he like flew them across the world, but I was just saying with like hurricane winds, but he just like opened the earth and swallowed them.
Lizzie's been watching a lot of Trolls lately. It's like those like, I don't know if they're called flowers or plants or whatever, that just like open their mouths like just randomly that they thought were like land, but it's like, oh, that's actually a mouth. And then just and then closes. Yeah.
Dude, also though, how terrifying.
How terrifying.
Oh my gosh.
Just all of a sudden.
That would be
shaking.
Terrifying.
Water.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then you're falling. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No.
So there's going to be a lot of stuff happening here, and it does happen all at once, but we're going to hear it from like different views. So the fleets, the Numenorian ships that were just surrounding Tol Eressëa, they just got sucked in. All the ships that were off the shore sucked in. They were just
terrifying.
They're gone.
Nightmare.
Quote, "That Ar-Pharazon, the king, and the mortal warriors that had set foot upon the land of Aemon were buried under falling hills. There it is said that they lie imprisoned in the caves of the Forgotten until the last battle and the day of doom."
So they're trapped?
Okay, so here is where I went down a Google rabbit hole here, because Caves of the Forgotten is capitalized. And I'm like, okay, what are the Caves of the Forgotten then? It's literally just referring to this one instance. And so imagine the hill, the big mountain boundary, the Calasyria. So that is what fell on them.
Okay.
And they are imprisoned in this Cave of the Forgotten. And this is totally like Google fan theories here. So this isn't set in stone, but I just liked this idea. So the last battle, and this is totally fan fiction. Don't quote me on this, guys. But the last battle is supposed to be like somehow Melkor breaks free or something like that. And then when that
Spoilers.
happens... Well, it hasn't happened in any of the books. This is how the world will end at the very, very end of Tolkien's universe. That will never happen because Tolkien's universe will never die.
Someone has theorized this.
Yes, this is totally theory. So the last battle will be Melkor gets unleashed or something like that. And at that point, this army that is trapped in the caves of the Forgotten will somehow rise and have a choice to fight for the Valar or fight with Melkor.
It's giving the end of Return of the King where...
Yes, they bring that up a lot.
Yeah.
Because I'm
is
imagining...
Is that what Ar-Pharazon turns into? Is that kind of thing? Or is he just like a person? Forever?
I imagine it's more like the ghost thing because, I mean, he's mortal, so they can't live forever. And so I imagine the crush killed them, but their spirits, like the ghost army in Return of the King, I can't remember what they're called other than the ghost army. Like their spirits are just stuck there forever. That's just what I imagine.
Or it's because he's on Valinor, he can't die, and so he like.
That doesn't work like that, Abby.
How many people have died on Valinor?
At least one, because Muriel just decided to die. And they're like, actually, it's called the Undying Lands, ma'am. And she's like, well, I'm going to die anyway. No, it's
Blech.
Not. No, remember at the beginning of Akallabeth, it's not the land that gives you immortality. It's the gift from Iluvatar that gives you immortality. And the gift of immortality is only given by Iluvatar. And he doesn't like the men, remember? They're the last born that everyone forgets about.
They're stinky.
They're stinky and they're icky.
Yeah, they are.
So that is what I imagine happening. One theory I did actually, sorry, I went down a deep rabbit hole, guys, on this because I was just like intrigued by this whole last battle idea with Ar-Pharazon's army. So if they have a choice between fighting for Valar or Morgoth, Melkor, who would he choose? And this guy was like, I think he would choose Morgoth because he is still mad at the Valar and he worshipped him so hard. And he's like, yeah, that's my guy. So, yeah. Or the Valar, like, you could be forgiven for fighting for, supporting Melkor. And he's like, but you guys killed me. I just wanted immortality, and you didn't give it to me. Wham!
You trapped me under a mountain.
So, sorry for the segue, but I liked that idea.
Yes.
So the first question I had when the ocean chasm was opening up and swallowing all the ships was, what about Tol Eressëa? Weren't all the ships surrounding it? So how do the ships all go, but the island and the people don't go? Well, apparently at the same time or right before this chasm opened, the land of Aemon, Valinor, and Eressëa of the Eldar were taken away and removed beyond the reach of men forever.
What? They just and floated away?
Yes. But I love that. But I don't know why, and it's probably because I'm a mom. It's like, you know what? We're going to take this toy and we're going to put it up here until you realize what you've done. Okay.
Until you can respect it.
Yeah.
You don't get it.
They just put it on a top shelf and no, you can't touch it. It's beyond your reach forever.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. Imagine, okay, in my mind, they floated away. In my mind, they just floated away. And so the guy who's living on a ship is like, what the heck?
Oh, a red deal. He's like, finally, some company up here.
Wait, where are you guys going? No.
Quote, and Andor, the land of gift, Numenor of the kings, Elena of the star of Elendil, was utterly destroyed, for it was nigh to the east of the great rift, and its foundations were overturned, and it fell, it went down into darkness, and is no more.
The whole island?
The whole island be gone.
Oh my gosh.
So Aemon and
the people.
We'll get it.
People better have gotten it off.
We'll get to that. But I find it funny, like Aemon and Tol Eressëa got lifted up into the sky or heavens or whatever. But Numenor just happens to be too close to the chasm and just happens to get swallowed up as well. Like,
whoopsie.
oh no, I'm so sad.
Oh darn. Oh man. Tough nuts.
Well,
tough beans. Oh man. Them's the breaks.
Yeah. Well, on Numenor, before all this happened, the people had absolutely no warning. I mean, other than the cloud and lightning eagles, because
terrifying.
From the time Ar-Pharazon and all of his battleships left for Valinor, and now it has been 39 days. So it's been like over a month. Like, wonder how Ar-Pharazon's handling the. And then suddenly,
oh my gosh.
Fire burst from the Meneltarma, the big mountain on Numenor, and there came a mighty wind and a tumult of the earth, and the sky reeled and the hills slid, and Numenor went down into the sea, with all its children and its wives and its maidens and its ladies proud. They vanished forever. And last of all, the mounting wave, green and cold and plumed with foam, climbing over the land, took to its bosom Tar Miriel, the queen, fairer than silver or ivory or pearls. Too late she strove to ascend the steep ways of the Meneltarma to the holy place, for the waters overtook her, and her cry was lost in the roaring of the wind.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm sorry for there being so many quotes, but man, Tolkien needs his due for this part because he wrote just beautifully here. Well, tragically.
Beautifully, terrifying.
Yeah.
Okay, why did he have to put the whole thing about like, and the kids died?
Oh, I know you loved that part.
Died.
But I was thinking about this, like, was there anyone left on Numenor that was bad? Because I felt like everyone else was gone. Like, let's just say Numenor, people. But no, it was too close to the chasm. And poor Tar Miriel. Like, she was like practically non-existent for most of the Akallabeth. Like, she was like, yay, my dad is Tar Palantir. Oh no, my dad died. I'm not going to be the queen. Oh no, I have to marry the scumbag. And no, now he's going to be the king. And I kind of get to be the queen, but not really.
And now no one talks about it.
Now no one talks about me. Yeah. And now I got stuck on Numenor and now I'm dead.
What's that giant wave over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's just so heartbreaking because the last thing she was doing was trying to run to the hallowed ground that was on Meneltarma. Remember the sacred place that was devoted to Iluvatar? The one place on Numenor that was devoted? That's where she was running to.
Oh, no. Why did he have to add that?
But I have a not a theory, a question, I guess, for Tolkien, a plot question. She was an Elendili, like 100% an Elendili. But, I mean, she did what she had to do to survive for Ar-Pharazon. I get that point. But why couldn't she have befriended Amandil when he was in court and one of the counselors of Ar-Pharazon? Like, he was around. Everyone knew he was an Elendili and he was, towing the line. They were playing the same game of survival, but still being true to the Valar. How come she couldn't have buddied up with him and had his escape plan in place? Like, Ar-Pharazon's gone. Who's going to stop her?
I know. And wouldn't she be in charge if he's gone?
You would think so.
Oh, my goodness.
But no. So long, people of Numenor, and R.I.P. Tar Miriel.
No.
But there are survivors.
Oh, of course there has to be. This would be
or this story would be very short, yeah. Quote, by grace of the Valar, Elendil and his sons and their people were spared from the ruin of that day. For Elendil had remained in Romena. Remember, that was the harbor city that was on the east side of the island, closer to Middle Earth. That's where he was supposed to wait until he got the signal from his dad. So he's waiting there, refusing the summons of the king when he set forth to war, and avoiding the soldiers of Sauron that came to seize him and drag him to the fires of the temple. He went aboard his ship and stood off from the shore, waiting on the time. There he was protected by the land from the great drought of the sea that drew all towards the abyss, and afterwards he was sheltered from the first fury of the storm. So when the chasm opened, so if you're thinking of Numenor, it's in the middle. You have Valinor on the left, Middle Earth on the right, Numenor in the middle.
Okay.
Elendil is waiting with his ships between Numenor and Middle Earth. The chasm is on the left side between Valinor and Numenor. So he was protected from the chasm.
I wonder if his grandpa or dad had that kind of divine inspiration to go on that side of the island.
That's what I'm saying. Amandil does not get enough credit. So he was protected from... Good job, Amandil. So he's protected from the chasm opening. But when the devouring wave rolled over the land and Numenor toppled to its fall, the great wind took him, wilder than any wind that man had known, roaring from the west. And it swept his ships far away.
That's what I said. I said the wind would come and then their sailboats would be like, whoa.
So just as Numenor is crashing into the sea, a great wind from the west, meaning from Valinor, swept the ships to the east, away from the chaos.
So they were already on the boats.
Yeah, I think...
They weren't on the island. They were waiting.
Right. And I was wondering about that too, but I think with Ar-Pharazon trying to recruit him into the army and Sauron looking for him to sacrifice to the temple, he's like, you know what? I'm just going to stay on my ship over here. I'm good. They can't find me over here.
Yeah, it's probably, and then it ended up being the smart thing to do.
Right. So, you want to know how many ships survived?
3.
Sorry,
3?
It's all right. I have a baby.
It's cool. I might have a baby soon, so.
We're almost done. So, how many ships were saved? 9 ships. That's all that escaped. Elendil had 4. Yeah, he likes that number. Elendil had 4 ships. Isildur had 3 ships. And Anarion had 2 ships. And of course, we don't get to know how big these ships were or how many people were able to escape on the ships. But most important thing is that they escaped. So later, Elendil and his sons would found kingdoms in Middle Earth that, may have some importance later.
I mean, there's probably some room since they murdered everyone over there and there isn't much competing market.
Yeah, there's some room. And, quote, and though their lore and craft was but an echo of that which had been ere Sauron came to Numenor, yet very great it seemed to the wild men of the world.
So,
it might not have been top tier Numenor handiwork, but to the forgotten men of Middle Earth, it must have been you know how to do that?
But they're also they're not going to kill us, right?
Yeah. So they're all settling into Middle Earth. Numenor's gone. Ar-Pharazon's gone. Valinor and Tol Eressëa are up in the heavens somewhere. Who are we missing here? What happened to... you're wondering what happened to Sauron?
Oh, yeah. Wasn't he in his castle temple thing?
Yep. Yeah. So the Valar actually managed to surprise him. He knew this attack from Ar-Pharazon wouldn't work, but he just thought that, they'll go over there, the Valar will kill them and their proud, stupid king, and just, that'll be one less person I'll have to deal with. Okay. So he's just chilling in his temple, and I don't know why I find this funny. He hears the sound of Ar-Pharazon's trumpets signaling their departure to Valinor. Okay. Yeah. So Sauron's just hearing it from his temple, and he just laughs. Maniacal laugh. And then
what a dummy.
Yeah. And then he hears, I don't know, a few days, few hours, I don't know. He hears the thunder of the storm coming. He just laughs even more. Ooh, they're in trouble now.
In my brain, I think in movie scenes. So I can just see him sitting in his dark, stone marble chair in that creepy temple thing. And it's lit with candles or some weird sun skylight thing. And then he's sitting there, it's all quiet, and then you just hear off in the distance the trumpets, and then it zooms in on him, and you just see him smile, and he's hee hee hee.
Yeah,
they're falling into it. So that's my brain. Think of that.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like that scene that you painted. So he laughs at the trumpets, he laughs at the storm. And then a third time, he just makes himself laugh. He's like, oh, what am I going to do with myself once these Númenóreans are out of my life? What should I do? I should take up a hobby or something. I'm going to have all this free time. And he's literally still in the middle of laughing when all of a sudden, quote, he was taken in the midst of his mirth, and his seat and his temple fell into the abyss. But Sauron was not of mortal flesh, and though he was robbed now of the shape in which he had wrought so great an evil, so that he could never again appear fair to the eyes of men, yet his spirit arose out of the deep, and passed as a shadow and a black wind over the sea, and came back to Middle-earth and to Mordor, that was his home. There he took up again his great ring in Barad-dûr, and dwelt there dark and silent, until he wrought himself a new guise, an image of malice and hatred made visible, and the eye of Sauron the Terrible few could endure.
So that's how that happened.
Yes. Whoa. So he couldn't have an actual body. Once he lost his pretty one, they're like, nope, you can't try that. You can't trick people with those pretty eyes again, Sauron. Try again. And so he's like, all right, I'm going to go the dark way then.
So his body died. His disguise of
his pretty
his
one died. Yes. So he's like, you can't be pretty anymore. You can't use your looks to get people to do what you want anymore, Sauron.
So that scene in the last Harry Potter movie where McGonagall is attacking Snape in the Great Hall, and side note, he's actually deflecting her spells, and it's making it hit the other Death Eaters behind him, because anyway, so when he does that, and then he swirls his wand around him, and he turns to that smoky black, just goes and breaks through the window. That's what I think what he did. That's my vision in my head of him being his body passes away, and then he turns into this chaotic black vapor stuff.
I like it.
And
so one thing, I'm a very, I will always follow the rules of your fantasy world. We were watching Avatar the other night, and I'm like, how do they know English? And he's like, how would he learn? Of course they don't know English. This is a Hollywood movie. No, even within the Avatar world, they shouldn't. These people shouldn't know English. If you give me the rules of your world, I will follow them. But then I will also question why they don't follow the rules.
Makes sense.
Make it make sense. I'm not. I don't like nitpick everything, but I was like, so Numenor's gone. His temple, his body is put into an abyss. What happened to his ring? Because I confirmed it. His ring he was wearing his ring on Numenor. So what happened to it? Well, are you ready for this mental image?
Yes. Is this from the book or is this fan theory?
Possibly fan theory, but like I don't have a quote from the book. Like it's based on the book. Apparently his spirit carried the ring back to Mordor.
Whoa.
So I'm like imagining like a little like winged creature like flapping, but like
a little
carrying, bat. Yeah, a little bat.
Little bat. This is a little vampire.
Yeah, but with like the middle is the ring, and it's just like trying to carry it. Yeah. Why did I make this so heavy?
Dang it.
So that was my question, and that's what the internet told me. So if anyone has a better theory or a better backing of that, I would love to hear it.
You want to hear my last mental image of how he became the eye?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. So he gets crushed. His body dies. He lets out this like scream, right? And he's like so mad that his plan didn't work out. So he turns into that black vapor, like the snake thing I was talking about. And he's like, and he flies across the ocean. He goes to Middle Earth and he's like flying over. And it's like the wind is like pushing over trees and like people are like, kind of like that scene in the first one where like he does that like whoosh and all the like elves and stuff kind of like fly forward, you know? It's kind of like that, but they don't know what it is. It's just like this crazy like sudden gust of wind. And it's like going through. And then he goes over to Barad-dûr and Mordor and he has that big tower, right? Mm-hmm. Has he built the tower yet?
Yeah, the tower's there. The eye is not on the top because he has. He's not there yet.
Okay, this is the whole back of it. And so, like, he busts through the doors. Like, the orcs are all there, and they're like, "What's happening?" And suddenly, like, the gust, that black smoke, just like poof, through the bottom door, and it like goes up, and it's like kind of like a furnace, like when in the movies where like the flame is just going through it like super fast, like a bomb.
Ooh, I like it.
And then it comes to the top, and he just like the eye just bursts open in flame, and he's just like screaming mad at the very top, like he's like, my plan didn't work, and he's like. Just like at the very end of Return of the King where the eye like is really big and it's like flaming and like freaking out. It's like that. Mm-hmm. That's my vision of how that happened.
So you think it was, it made itself into the eyeball essentially at this point, and then it summoned more strength to be able to become the Sauron pointy black thing.
Yeah. It like flew into the tower and like the flames inside the tower, because I'm assuming they like have huge like furnace things in there, and it's
I like it
kind of just like mixed up, and then he just kind of swirled really really fast up to the top, and then he's like boom, and he just like busts through the top where he becomes that like flame, and I could just hear it of him just like screaming of like anger and frustration that his body's gone and this didn't work out like he wanted and all this stuff. That's how I think it's gonna go.
Okay.
If they show it in the Rings of Power show,
that'd be awesome.
It's like that.
Yeah. Well, that's where we're gonna leave Sauron for now, because we're gonna go back to the Edain on Middle Earth. So once they get all settled, they are keeping with the lore, and they're talking about, I imagine Numenor is gone, right? But they're like, we had that mountain, the Meneltarma, that had the temple to Iluvatar on it. It might still be visible. Like it might have been, it might still be just like a quote, a lonely island lost in the great waters. Like they're thinking the water isn't quite tall enough or deep enough to cover it.
Okay.
And they even like are using logic to back up this theory that since it was hallowed to Iluvatar and, because even Sauron wasn't able to defile it on Numenor, no one really went in there after Sauron took over. And it's a sacred, special place. Like, even like they couldn't destroy that. So maybe just like that part is above the surface. So it becomes like a quest for some of Elendil's line to try and find this lonely island. Because
sad.
Yes. Not only to like be a part of Numenor again, but also the lore masters are like, well, in the olden days on Numenor, we could see Valinor from the top of the Meneltarma. So if you were able to go there and find this Meneltarma peak, you might be able to see Valinor.
Oh, okay.
But
a noble quest.
Yeah, but no one ever found it. But I like the idea. It's an interesting
idea. It was a worthy goal. It was they're trying.
Yeah. I just love that they're still keeping up with their history and their, lore and everything. But it's also interesting. So if Valinor and Tol Eressëa are raised up, even just from the Lord of the Rings series, how are those people getting to Valinor? Or to the Grey Havens? Like when Frodo and company, after the Return of the King, go to the Grey Havens.
Hey, you can't throw it out of there that the ships can't fly. There's also ships in here that fly.
That took a lot of special magic, okay? Well, here is what they have to say about that. Quote, therefore, the lore masters of men said that a straight road must still be for those that were permitted to find it. And they taught that while the new world fell away, the old road and the path of the memory of the West still went on, as it were a mighty bridge invisible that passed through the air of breath and of flight, until it came to Tol Eressëa, and maybe even beyond to Valinor, where the Valar still dwell and watch the unfolding of the story of the world.
Whoa. So they just are having box seats to the unfolding of Middle-earth.
Yep.
Crazy.
And that's the end.
Whoa. Wow. I still have so many questions.
Well,
but that's a cool part. Like, so sad, first of all.
So sad.
But wow, that was really good.
Yeah.
Good job, Tolkien.
Good job, Tolkien.
You did a good one.
Yeah. So this week we're going to learn all about what happens between this point and basically like the beginning of Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is like so cool to like make the connections.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Yes.
Thank you for teaching me today, Ashley.
You're welcome. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Sisters of the Shire Podcast. Become a Patreon and become a patron and join our Patreon at patreon.com/Sisters of the Shire Podcast. It's so confusing. You can join our dwarf friend of the Shire, Dan, or our elf friends of the Shire, Chrishane and Tom. Thank you so much for your continued support, you guys.
Dan, you're a woodworker. Make that thing I was talking about. Do
it. Please rate us on whatever platform you listen to your podcasts on. I don't know who it was, but thank you. Whoever gave us, I think we're up 2 ratings on Spotify, and our rating is going back up. So thank you for that. Thank you.
We praised.
And we got a new country. Sorry, I'm like losing my voice here at the end.
The only time we talk about global domination.
And this is one we haven't. I'm surprised
Lizzie,
this
can you
one's
tell
already.
me the new country?
Can you say that word, Lizzie? It's like 2 words.
What is it?
That word there. Can you read it? Yes, you can.
Iceland.
Say it into the microphone.
Iceland.
Oh, the wonderful world of Iceland, which is actually green compared to Greenland.
I know. It's one of those places that I would love to go before I die. One day.
That's so cool.
Day. Yeah.
Is it Bjork? Thanks, Bjork. Love
Thank you.
Thanks for being a fan.
Also, Israel, Dan, you went down 1%. What the heck, man? I thought we were friends.
Oh no. Maybe
but Thailand and Spain, they're moving it up. They're pretty high up. Let's see. 1, 2. 3.
Hey, maybe my friend who's in Thailand right now is listening to us. That'd be funny.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, Thailand is now in the top 10 and Spain is number 11.
What? Thank you, friends from all around the world.
Yeah. Oh,
Thank you for bearing with us with this crazy summer schedule. We have kids home. We've got camps that we do. We've got family reunions we were doing, vacations, family vacations. I'm sorry it's been so chaotic, but...
And this is almost done, by the way.
Thank you, Lizzie. Thank you.
Okay. Lizzie, what's the name of the bad guy in the Silmarillion?
Morgoth.
And how old is Galadriel?
Older than the moon.
And what's the name of Morgoth's, lieutenant, the other bad guy?
Sauron.
Yes.
And what does Gollum say about his ring? What does he say?
My precious.
Say, please listen. Say,
please listen to the Sisters of the Shire podcast every day.
Say, thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Krishane.
Thank you, Krishane.
And thank you, Tom.
And thank you, Tom.
Well, we're so glad you're here with us. And,
you ready?
I think I have a little person now. Can you say it for us, Lizzie? Sign us out.
Say, thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
This has been the
Sisters of the Shire podcast.
Yay! And we hope you join us next time. Bye.